So in our previous lecture, we have started with the different methods of valuation, and in that we have gone through the first method. We called it as a rental method. So in the rental method, we have discussed different points like what is meant by the word rent, then what are the different types of the rent, like standard rent, rack rent, head rent, nominal rent. So that points already we have covered up in our previous lecture. Also the specialty of the rental method, that is nothing but we are going to determine the net income or the net return or the net rent of the property in that, and how we are going to do the evaluation for using the rental method of valuation. So just a minute. Sorry for the disturbance. So in the rental method, what actually we are going to calculate. So valuation using the rental method, we are going to calculate by using valuation of the property equals to the net income or the net rent multiplied by the years purchase. What is the formula to determine the years purchase? Years purchase is nothing but 1 divided by IP plus IC, where IP is nothing but a rate of interest that is been given, that is on the cost of construction or of the cost of land, and IC is nothing but your rate of interest on the sinking fund. Okay, now you are familiar with the word sinking fund. What is the meaning of sinking fund and how we are going to consider it? So IC, again, what is the formula to determine the value of IC? IC is nothing but I divided by 1 plus I bracket raised to n minus 1. Okay, so that is nothing but a rate of interest for the sinking fund. Yeah, this book which I am presenting right now, this book is of quantity estimation and valuation, that is by Chakraborty. Okay, I am having the soft copy of this book, so I will share with everyone. It will help you because as far as section 2 is considered, that is valuation, this book is very good, okay, for understanding as well as for studying purpose. Okay, also for section 1 you can use it, there will be no problem. So I am having the soft copy of this book after BN Datta. Okay, that is a quantity estimation by BN Datta book, that first book. This is the most widely used book. Okay, So you can refer this book. It is available in the hard copies in our library also, or if you wish, I will share this soft copy of the book with everyone. Okay. After the end of this lecture, just remind me at once. I will share it with your with everyone. Okay, on your WhatsApp group as well as on your email ID. Uh, you can take that book for the ready reference. Okay. So rental method, we have up to that particular point how to do the calculation in the rental method. So let's see the next part of this particular chapter. Just a minute. Yes, as I said earlier, the formula that we are going to use as in case of your rental method is nothing but valuation of the property. We call it as its capitalized value. Okay, so capitalized value equals to net rent or net income multiplied by the year's purchase. Where net rent, how we are going to calculate it is nothing but gross rent minus outgoings. Okay. Now, as far as this rental method of valuation is considered, what other factors we have to consider?
अगदी पदार्थ करून
What other factors we have to consider? So as far as this rental method of valuation is considered, we have to consider the land and its tenure. Okay, that is shape of the land and whether it is freehold or whether it's a leasehold on which the building is has been erected. Okay, so whenever you are going for the valuation purpose, you should identify that whether that land is a freehold property or whether it's a leasehold property. Okay, freehold property means the owner has having all the rights. He is the main owner of that particular property, and leasehold land is nothing but the land is already been given to another person, and he is developing that particular land. Okay, so there is a difference between freehold and the leasehold property. So at the time of valuation, we have to consider the land and its tenure as well as that is shape of the land, tenure period, then cubical contents of the building, that is its dimensions basically, length, width and depth or height, whatever is applicable. Then future life of the building, gross rent, outgoings, years purchase, capital repairs and value of land from the records. Okay. So if you want to see one example, they have mentioned over here. So what first example, we will just discuss a small example of the rental method. Find the capitalized value of a premises consisting of a land or and a well-built house let out for rupees 800 per month inclusive of all taxes. The house is in good condition. The rent comparison with this other premises is fair. Assume the following data. So we have to find out the capitalized value. That means we have to do its valuation, and it is been let out for rupees 800 per month. Okay. So what data we are going to assume? Outgoings. Generally, these are considered as 18% of the gross rent. Expected rate of return. It is again assumed because it is not given in the problem. It is assumed as 8%. Then future life of the building 60 years. Generally, any RCC building, the minimum life that we are going to be expect is nothing but 50 years. Huh? In future, whenever you are going to do the construction activities, keep the thing in the mind. Whatever the RCC frame structure you are going to construct, the stipulated life of that particular structure or the predicted life of that particular structure should be 50 years minimum. What is what I'm using? Minimum 50 years. Now let us see what will happen, whether your structure is going to withstand that much period or not. Okay, just a minute, students. Okay. Hello. Okay, continuing with the same point. So outgoings, they are going to consider it as 18% of the gross rent. Then expected rate of return is 8%. Future life is 60 years. So the point that we are discussing is, whenever you are going to construct, predict the design life of that RCC structure is minimum 50 years. Okay, and let us see what will happen. Now, if you consider today's scenario, you can see there are so many buildings which are constructed just before 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and their condition is very worst. They are on the urge of demolishing. Okay, so what quality of construction they have maintained? So in the last 10 years to 15 years, I can say our construction style and the parameters are changed, our mentality is changed. Okay, though as per the design, it suggests that no sir, at least 30 years to 50 years my building will withstand. But if you go up to 20 years, you can see how much depreciation was occurred for that particular structure. So maintain the quality, that is what I want to tell to everyone. Okay, so as far as this problem is considered, future life of the building they have assumed as 60 years. Now gross rent that the owner is getting is rupees 800, that is per month. So how much total gross rent he is going to get for 1 year? It is nothing but 800 multiplied by 12, that is 9600 rupees. And outgoings are 18% of the gross rent, so that is 18% of 9600, that comes as 1728 rupees. Okay, so what is the net rent that is available? It is nothing but gross rent minus outgoings. I will use the pointer for your understanding purpose. So net rent is nothing but gross rent minus outgoings. So gross rent is your 9600 rupees and outgoings are 1728 rupees. So total net rent that customer or that owner is going to get is nothing but 7872 rupees. Okay. Going fast, very fast. Okay, so that net rent is 7872 rupees. Now the life of the building being 60 years, the income is considered as a perpetual. Okay, now the as this particular span is a bigger one, that is 60 years is a big span. So generally the life of the building uh, and the income which is associated with that particular building, we consider at it as a perpetual investment or perpetual income. So what is the formula for perpetual investment or the perpetual income? That is single years. So formula already we have discussed in our previous lecture. Years purchase equals to 100 by I. Here I is nothing but rate of interest, and that we have taken as 8%. So 100 by 8, that is nothing but 12.5. So capital value by the rental method of valuation, sorry for the disturbance. So the capital value by the rental method of valuation equals to net rent multiplied by years purchase. Net rent is already we are familiar with that, that is 7872 rupees. Years purchase we have calculated. Okay, that is 100 by I. Now what is this formula which I have written over here? 100 by I, this is for perpetual. Please remember this thing. Now, as the life of building we have assumed as 60 years, so income is considered as a perpetual income, and that is why for perpetual the formula of for the years purchase is 100 by I. Okay, But if you take the life of the building is being 30 years and income is not perpetual, then our formula for YP, that is years purchase, is equals to 1 divided by IP plus IC, where we have to consider two rate of interest. One is nothing but on the cost of construction, that is IP, and another is nothing but your IC, that is on the cost of, on the, that is rate of interest on the sinking fund value. Okay. So here we are considering it as a perpetual. Please remember, don't get any fumble, don't make any fumble between this. Okay, perpetual and non-perpetual. Perpetual is for a permanent, or that is for a longer duration. So formula for YP is nothing but 100 by I, and for the short duration, the formula is nothing but 1 divided by IP plus IC. Uh, so capitalized value is nothing but rate rent multiplied by years purchase, and so the capitalized value of that property calculated as 98,400 rupees. Okay. The next problem we are going to discuss, that is for your understanding. Please listen carefully. You can note down this problem in your notebook also if you are writing. So the next problem that we are going to discuss is nothing but work out the value of a premises consisting of a land and a house in a poor condition to let for rupees 600 per month inclusive of all taxes. The house is in such a condition that the effective life cannot be more than 20 years, and after that the house shall have to be rebuilt by an estimated cost of rupees 25,000. The rent, by comparison with the other premises, is fair and likely to be maintained provided yearly repairs are constantly executed. Okay, so what we have to do? We have to make the valuation of this particular land. So actually, what problem they have mentioned, that you need to understand at first, and then we can go for the problem. So what things they have given over here? See, there is one structure, and the life of that structure cannot be more than 20 years. That means within a span of 20 years that structure is get completely demolished, or it will get vanished. जे घर आहे किंवा जी प्रॉपर्टी आहे ती प्रॉपर्टी 20 वर्षापर्यंत मर्यादित आहे, तिची लाईफ इफेक्टिव्ह लाईफ जी असणार आहे. ठीक आहे, त्यानंतर ते मोडकळीस येणार आहे किंवा ते तुटून पडणार आहे. आणि हे घर 600 रुपये पर मंथ अशा पद्धतीने ते भाड्याने दिलेलं आहे सध्या. आणि ज्यावेळेस 20 वर्षानंतर हे घर पडेल त्यावेळेस ती इमारत बांधायला तुम्हाला किती खर्च येतोय? तर 25,000 रुपये खर्च येतोय. तिथे ते 25,000 रुपये खर्च येतोय. ठीक आहे, तर यावरून आपल्याला त्या बिल्डिंगचं व्हॅल्युएशन काढायचं आहे. आधी प्रॉब्लेम समजून घ्या. एक बिल्डिंग आहे की ज्या बिल्डिंग सध्या 600 रुपये पर मंथ या रेंटने ती भाड्याने दिलेली आहे. ठीक आहे, पण ती बिल्डिंग 20 वर्षापेक्षा जास्त काळ टिकू शकणार नाहीये. ती बिल्डिंग 20 वर्षापेक्षा जास्त काळ टिकू शकणार नाही. आणि ज्यावेळेस ही बिल्डिंग कम्प्लिटली पडेल 20 वर्षानंतर, त्यावेळेस तिला परत पुनर्निर्माण करण्यासाठी किती खर्च येतोय? तर तो 25,000 रुपये येणार आहे. ठीक आहे, मग आता त्या बिल्डिंगचं व्हॅल्युएशन किती, असा हा प्रश्न आहे. ठीक आहे, सो व्हॉट दे हॅव अज्युम्ड. सो कॉस्ट ऑफ अॅन्युअल रिपेअर्स इज 8% ऑफ द ग्रॉस रेंट. अॅन्युअल रिपेअर किती आहे? 8% ऑफ द ग्रॉस रेंट. इयर्स परचेस for 20 years at 7%, allowing for the redemption of the estimated cost to rebuild the house at 4%. Other outgoings are 18%. Okay, so this is the given data for this particular problem. Now, if you go with the details of this problem, I will explain one by one. First, what they have mentioned, they have mentioned the gross rent per month. How much it is? Rupees 600. So for a single year, how much cost they are getting? 600 multiplied by 12, that is 7,200 rupees. Okay. Then outgoings they have mentioned. So outgoings 8% annual cost they require, that is for the repair work, and other outgoings are 18%. So total 26% is nothing but their outgoing. How much outgoing? Total outgoing is there 8% required for the repair work, and for other work 18% amount is required, okay, of the gross rent. So their total outgoings is 26%. Always remember, our outgoings are in between 20 to 30%. If it is not given, you can take any value between this, okay. So here in this particular problem, the outgoings are 26% of the gross rent. My gross rent per year is 7,200 rupees. So 26% of 7,200 rupees, that comes as 1,872 rupees. Okay. Then cost of rebuilding structure after 20 year span, after demolition or after vanishing, how much cost they have mentioned? The cost of rebuilding, ते घर परत बांधण्यासाठी किती खर्च येणार आहे त्यांना, तर 25,000 रुपये येणार आहे. ठीक आहे. The next thing, considering a 1 year rent shall have to be lost due to the rebuilding. Okay, due to the rebuilding. परत तुम्हाला रिबिल्ड करण्यासाठी 1 वर्षाचा कालावधी लागणार आहे. त्यामुळं तुमचं जो अपेक्षित जो खर्च असणार आहे तो 7,200 अधिक आधीचे 25,000 असा 32,200 तुम्हाला हा खर्च येतोय. ठीक आहे, कारण 1 वर्षाचा रेंट तुम्हाला परत इथे पे करावं लागतंय. देन this amount shall have to be set aside for the redemption of 4% in the form of annual sinking fund premier. ठीक आहे. सो अॅन्युअल सिंकिंग फंड रिडम्शन दिलेला आहे, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, ओके, तो दिलाय 4% सिंकिंग फंडचा. So what is our first step? We have our next step is nothing but finding out the installment that is required for the sinking fund. Okay, so annual sinking fund for 20 years is equals to SI divided by 1 plus I bracket raised to n minus 1. Our SI is 32,000. How it is 32,200 rupees? 25,000 plus 7,200 rupees. So 25,000 is nothing but cost of rebuilding structure, and 7,200 rupees is nothing but gross rent for a year. Okay, so total is 32,200 rupees. I is nothing but 4% rate of interest which is given on the sinking fund. So S is 32,200 rupees. I is nothing but 4%, that is 0.04, divided by 1 plus I, again 0.04, bracket raised to, see, look at this, annual sinking fund for 20 years, because life of building, effective life of building is not going to be more than 20 years. Okay, so n equals to 20 years, that we have to taken. So if you put all the values and solve that, so annual installment that is required for annual sinking fund is nothing but 1,079 rupees. 1,079 rupees. Now we have to determine the net rent. Okay, so how the net rent is there? Net rent is nothing but gross rent minus outgoings. Gross rent is 7,200 minus, now outgoings. First outgoing is nothing but 26% of the gross rent, 8 plus 18, that comes as 1,872 rupees, minus that outgoing that is required for the sinking fund is 1,079 rupees. So if you do that, if you do the calculation, that answer comes as 4,249 rupees. Okay, now after getting the net rent, you are having the years purchase. Years purchase is generally, it is again here it is, they have considered as a perpetual income, and years purchase they have taken it as 100 by I. Okay, so just to get the value of YP, put it in the formula, capitalized value equals to net rent multiplied by years purchase, you will get the value of the premises. Okay, so in this way they have taken this particular problem. Now the next method, very important one, that is valuation. That is we are going to calculate the valuation of a structure using initial cost based method valuation. Using initial cost based method valuation. Now what is initial cost? At first one should understand initial or the prime cost of that particular structure. Now basically the initial cost consists of estimated cost from the accounts, that is whatever the calculations, rough calculations you are going to do. At first you have taken the plan in your hand, with respect to your plan, you have calculate all the dimensions and you have just put it our measurement sheet. You get the quantity. After getting the quantity, you have multiplied that quantity by with respect to the rates which are available in your SSR. So the estimated cost from the accounts, that is the first thing that you need to consider as far as this initial cost based valuation is considered. Then cost from the detailed items, as I said earlier, your painting, plastering, from every activity, you need to calculate the estimated cost that is required for that particular activity, and then at the end you have to take the summation of both. Then estimated cost from the plinth area, that is plinth area basis, and that is estimate from the unit rate and estimate from the or initial cost based on the cubic rate estimates. So whatever the category of the work, okay, or whatever the method that you are adapting just to determine the estimate, that it may be plinth area method, it may be unit rate method, it may be service unit method, it may be cubical content methods. Whatever the methods you are going to use it, based on that you can predict the initial cost that is required for that particular structure. Okay, now estimated cost from the accounts, how it is taken or how it is considered. This method is suitable where works are done by inviting the tenders and gives the most accurate cost of construction. This is the most applicable. This is most applicable for the buildings constructed by the government or the local bodies. The payment records are called for to verify the actual cost. So, as far as the estimated cost from the accounts is considered, we are going to invite the tender. People are going to fill the tenders, and then we are going to shortlist some of the tenders, and out of which we are going to finalize one tender. Okay. So this estimated cost from the accounts gives you the most accurate cost of construction, which helps us in deriving the valuation of the property. Then cost from the detailed items. So what are the detailed measurements of the building that are been there on your plan? As I said in my first sentence only, you have to consider the dimensions, you have to consider the plan, you have to consider, and then you can go for any method. It may be your plinth area method, it may be your service unit method, or it may be your cubical content method. Okay, so cost from the detailed items, in this you need to consider the measurements of the building, then multiplying the items of the work by the current PWD rates. As I said earlier, you need to prepare the measurement sheet. After getting the preparing the measurement sheet, from the measurement sheet you will get the quantities. Okay, and you just have to take that quantities and you need to multiply it with respect to the rates which are being given in your SSR. Okay, so quantity multiplied by the rate, you will get the accurate budget or accurate cost for that particular structure. Then estimate from the plinth area basis, you know this method very well. In the plinth area method, how we are going to calculate plinth area rate? Plinth area rate equals to plinth area multiplied by, sorry, valuation of the property or cost of construction of the property equals to plinth area multiplied by plinth area rate. Can anybody tell me the current rate in Pandharpur? Plinth area rate? Anyone? पंढरपूर मध्ये असा कन्सेप्ट आहे का प्लिंथ एरिया रेट? Can anybody give me the answer of this? Okay, don't worry. In our Maharashtra, we are directly dealing with our concept, that is per square feet. We are going to take the readings directly, or we are going to consider the rate. Okay, then actually द बिलिंग पार्ट ऑफ द बिल्डिंग, ओके, म्हणजे जी काही बिलं निघत असतात बिल्डिंगमधली ती मात्र तुमच्या टप्प्याटप्प्याने असतात. खाली फुटिंग म्हणजे साईट क्लिअरन्स पासून प्लिंथ हा पहिला टप्पा असतो. प्लिंथ पासून वरती सुपरस्ट्रक्चर हा दुसरा टप्पा असतो. त्यानंतर तुमचं फिनिशिंग, पेंटिंग, प्लास्टरिंग आणि फायनल अमाऊंट हा असा तिसरा, अशा 3 टप्प्यामध्ये तुमचं फायनान्स केलं जातं किंवा तुमची बिलं काढली जातात. आधी प्लिंथ पर्यंतचं काम चेक केलं जातं आणि त्यानंतरच जर वर्क सॅटिस्फाईड असेल तर तुमचे बिलं निघतात आणि त्यानंतर तुम्हाला पुढचं काम करण्याची संधी मिळते. ठीक आहे. मग पुढचे काम बीम नंतर तुम्ही खालचे प्लिंथ एरिया झाला की मग वरती कॉलम उभे केलेत, स्लॅब टाकलाय, तिथपर्यंत हा दुसरा टप्पा असतो. त्यानंतर फायनल पेंटिंग, प्लास्टरिंग, फ्लोरिंग वगैरे हा जो आहे हा तिसरा टप्पा असतो तुमच्या बिलाचा. ठीक आहे. तर या स्टेपमध्ये केलं जातं. क्युबिक राईट इस्टिमेट मेथडमध्ये आपण जनरली डायमेन्शन्स LBD बेसिकली ह्या 3 गोष्टी कन्सिडर करत असतो. कारण आणि ह्या तिन्ही गोष्टी LBD वरनं त्याला क्युबिक रेटनी मल्टिप्लाय करत असतो. ठीक आहे. मीटर क्यूबचा रेट काय सध्या किंवा क्युबिक फीटचा रेट काय आहे त्यावरनं आपण त्याचं इस्टिमेट तयार करत असतो. प्लिंथ एरियामध्ये प्लिंथ एरिया मल्टिप्लाइड बाय प्लिंथ एरिया रेट. क्युबिक रेट इस्टिमेट मेथडमध्ये क्युबिक एरिया मल्टिप्लाइड बाय क्युबिक एरिया रेट. ओके, और क्युबिक रेट. Okay, current cubic rate whatever it may be. Okay, generally cubic rate or cubic rate estimate is more accurate than your plinth area rate. ठीक आहे. कारण क्युबिक रेट मध्ये आपण तिन्ही डायमेन्शन्स कन्सिडर करतो, LB आणि D. ठीक आहे. सो इट इज मोर ॲक्युरेट मेथड ॲज कम्पेअर्ड विथ युअर प्लिंथ एरिया मेथड. Problems we are not going to discuss on this. I just want to give some important problems. Then next is direct comparison method. Okay, direct comparison method. Now this method consists of ascertaining the capitalized value of the property by direct comparison with the capitalized value of an adjoining property. या मेथडमध्ये काय करतोय आपण, दिस मेथड कन्सिस्ट ऑफ असर्टेनिंग द कॅपिटलाइज्ड व्हॅल्यू, जी काय व्हॅल्युएशन तुम्ही डिराईव्ह केलेलं आहे ते व्हॅल्युएशन कम्पेअर करताय त्याच बिल्डिंग, तशीच बिल्डिंग जर तुमच्या शेजारी एखादी ॲडजॉइनिंग प्रॉपर्टी असेल G+5, तुमचं पण G+5 स्ट्रक्चर आहे, त्यांचं पण G+5 स्ट्रक्चर आहे, सेम कॉन्ट्रॅक्टर होता की ज्यांनी हे दोन्ही घरे बांधलेले आहेत, सेम मटेरियल आहे, सेम स्टाईल ऑफ कन्स्ट्रक्शन आहे. मग ज्यावेळेस तुम्ही तुमच्या बिल्डिंगचं व्हॅल्युएशन करत असता त्यावेळेस हे व्हॅल्युएशन तुम्ही शेजारच्या ॲडजॉइनिंग प्रॉपर्टी सोबत कम्पेअर करता. आता कम्पेअर करताना अजून एक मजेशीर गोष्ट नेहमी घडत असते, ती म्हणजे रेट जो असतो हा रेट तुम्हाला फ्लोटिंग किंवा फ्लक्च्युएट झालेला दिसेल. सेम बिल्डिंग आहे, G+5, दोन्ही इमारती G+5 आहेत, कदाचित दोन्ही इमारती एकाच वर्षी बांधलेल्या आहेत ॲट द सेम टाइम, तरी सुद्धा दोन्ही इमारतीच्या व्हॅल्युएशन मध्ये कधी कधी डिफरन्स येऊ शकतो. आता डिफरन्स कसा येतो, काय येतो, हे मी तुम्हाला एक्सप्लेन करेन. त्याआधी महत्त्वाची सूचना, लेस दॅन 1 minute इज लेफ्ट टू कन्क्लूड दिस सेशन. हा सेशन संपायला 1 मिनिटापेक्षा कमी कालावधी आहे. जर सेशन संपला तर प्लीज रिजॉइन द सेशन युजिंग द सेम लिंक and rejoin fast. Okay, so we will continue our part in the later session.